sunshine if you're not mine forever, my darling baby.
What's up guys, it's Tommy Buckets back with another one. Before I start, I just want to thank everyone for checking out my last professor video, Why Isn't the Professor in the NBA? It was a pretty controversial topic, but it still received a mostly positive response. Even the professor saw the video and left a comment, which was a really cool experience for me. Because of all the response I received on my last video, I wanted to make another, this time on a more positive topic, the story of the professor. Grayson Boucher was born on June 10, 1984 in Kaiser, Oregon. He was introduced to the game of basketball at the early age of 3 by his father Steve, a jeweler who also had a passion for the game. It all started in the driveway. The professor played his dad in games of horse and eventually one-on-ones as he got older. Grayson stated he didn't start beating his father until his freshman year of college. The professor played AAU basketball as a kid and was coached by his dad at times. As an undersized guard, Grayson realized good ball handling skills would be vital to his success as a basketball player. Grayson was drawn more towards the entertainment aspect of the game. He modeled his style of play after flashy guards in the NBA. His game was most influenced by Allen Iverson because he was an undersized guard who played with a lot of heart and handled the ball like no one else. One of the professor's first moves was the Iverson crossover. Because of this, he became known as the little white kid with the Iverson crossover. The professor watched And One before he had any connections to them. He picked up all the And One mixtapes and spent hours watching, learning, and practicing the moves. One of his favorites was Volume 1, the Skip tape, which featured Rafer Alston or Skip to My Loop, street ball legend turned NBA player. The professor said, "I learned a lot from Skip on that tape. I must have watched it at least 100 times. Up until his sophomore year in high school, the professor had started on every team he had ever played on. He first faced some adversity as a basketball player during his junior year at McNary High School, when he was forced to play JV for another year. His coaches feared his size most. During this time, he was 5'5" at around 100 pounds. His coach felt he would struggle on defense and have trouble handling the ball at the varsity level. At the time, this was very disappointing, as most juniors who played JV never go on to play college basketball, but in retrospect was positive. Playing JV another year humbled him out and made him work harder than ever. Grayson worked on his weaknesses and practiced anywhere from 4 to 8 hours a day. For his senior year, he transferred to a smaller Christian school, Salem Academy. This worked out extremely well. Grayson received a lot more opportunity and was able to shine. He even made all-state honors. This just goes to show that you should never quit at anything you love. The professor struggled, stuck with it, worked harder than ever, and was able to succeed. Even though the professor had a great senior season, he was still overlooked by college coaches because of his size. He received no scholarship offers at all. Grayson managed to walk on the basketball team at Chemiquetta Community College. He mentioned he was only able to make the team because his dad sold the coach a wedding ring. The professor struggled for playing time. He only got in about 5 minutes per game, and the only reason he played was because of a bunch of players were hurt. And if a game was close at all, he wouldn't even get in. But things all changed when Grayson and his brother headed for the And One Open run in Portland. Grayson got in the game and showed off a few of his moves, and the crowd went crazy. He was asked to play against an And One team. His nickname, the Professor, was given to him shortly after from Duke Tango, an And One announcer, because he looked a little like a professor and was schooling guys on the court. At the time, And One was having a nationwide contest looking for someone to be a part of the And One team. It was a survivor-themed contest on ESPN Streetball, where players were picked up from local cities and competed against players from the previous cities on the tour. Players were removed from the competition by process of elimination, all the way down to 1, for an And One contract. Professor spent the whole summer touring and competing. He was the underdog in the competition, being short and white, but to much surprise, made it all the way to the end, gaining a spot on the team over his more athletic competition, Spida and Helicopter, the 2 other players in the final 3 of the competition. Despite being the underdog, the professor convinced his teammates he was the right man for the job. Twice that summer, he hit buzzer-beating game winners against the And One contract team. Shortly after earning his contract, the professor became one of And One's most popular street ballers, getting more appearance requests than any other player. Fans couldn't get enough of his crossovers and dribble moves. He also was featured in And One's national advertising campaign, along with Rafer Alston and Jason Williams. Playing for And One allowed the professor to travel the world, visit 40 different countries, and play the game he loves. Overall, it was an incredible experience. The success didn't end there either. After leaving N1 in January of 2011, Boucher played streetball for Ball Up, another streetball organization which featured most of the players from N1 Mixtape Tour. The international tour stopped in over 10 countries. The professor began an acting career, making appearances in several basketball films, including Semi-Pro, starring Will Ferrell as a player on the Spurs in the final game of the movie. On November 15, 2009, the YouTube channel Professor Live was created, with his most popular series being Spider-Man Basketball. The first episode of the series went viral, raking in 14 million views in the first week. The video was featured on the ESPN website and was tweeted by Shaq. The third episode even featured NBA player Jamal Crawford. At the time of this recording, the Professor Live channel has over 1.6 million subscribers and 300 million views. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the vid and learned something new about the professor. Remember to hit that subscribe button. I have new content coming all the time.